Annie and her sister survived Epstein's abuse. She's now a licensed psychologist. Also joining us is Lauren Hirsch, the National Director for World Without Exploitation. Annie, it's a heavy day, a momentous day, but a heavy day, a heavy week. How are you feeling?
There was a lot of anxiety coming into today for many of us survivors and that have been involved in this process. But I have to say, it has been an emotional day in a way that I was not expecting. My sister, Maria Farmer, reported Epstein and his crimes in 1996. We've been saying that over and over again. And part of what was released today was an official FBI form, and I think it was an FD 71, dated September 3rd, 1996, with some of my sister's report. It was labeled under child pornography, and it described Epstein stealing photos of myself at the age of 16, of my younger sister, who was 12 at the time. And just to see it in writing and to know that they had this document this entire time, and how many people were harmed after that date. It just, we've been saying it over and over, but to see it in black and white that way has been very emotional. I'm with Maria today. I know she felt a tremendous amount of relief and redemption, but also sorrow in thinking about, people like Virginia Roberts Giuffre, who are not here to see this and be a part of really forcing the government to be transparent finally about this case.
So Annie, I mean, just so people know, this is the document that you're talking about. It is the 1996 complaint that your sister made to the FBI about Epstein. She alleged that he stole nude and partially nude photographs of her underage sisters, constituting child pornography. And as we know, law enforcement failed to act on that complaint in 1996. She's followed up on this. She sued in response. You've sued over what you experienced. Maria, in a statement, has said, "This is amazing. Thank you for believing me. I feel redeemed. This is one of the best days of my life." Of course, it's mixed with the fact that I'm devastated about all the other little girls like Virginia who were harmed because the FBI didn't do their job. I'm crying for two reasons. I want everyone to know that I'm shedding tears of joy for myself, but also tears of sorrow for all the other victims that the FBI, looking at this document, I can feel, I'm sure, just a fraction of the emotion you feel, because you think of, like, if only they took this seriously, how many innocent girls would not have been harmed if only they took this seriously. But it is vindication. It is something, right, Annie?
Oh, it's huge. Yeah. I mean, and I still have big questions about whether it was, did they not take it seriously, or were they protecting Epstein because of whatever relationship he had with the government, right? Like, there's just so many questions, and why we hope for, again, more transparency. But yes, this is really, really significant to many of us.
It reminds me also of the young woman who went to the FBI and complained about Dr. Larry Nassar at Michigan State, who was molesting all those gymnasts and was also not taken seriously. Think of all the pain that could have been avoided. Annie, some of your fellow survivors have not been happy with the way that the Democrats on the House Oversight Committee have been releasing information and photographs, not necessarily with enough of a heads up for the survivors, sometimes with context, important context missing, et cetera. I imagine it's kind of triggering to not be given proper warning. What have you been hearing from other survivors about the way that these documents have been released by Democrats on House Oversight?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say, actually, I'd like to speak more broadly, because I think that similar to how things were released today. Just the government, I'd say, has not done a good job of communicating with victims throughout this process. We did not know what to expect from today. I don't think it would have been difficult from someone from the DOJ to reach out to prepare us a little bit more about how this was planned to be rolled out, but we had no information, and we are literally just learning of things like everyone else. And that is also true for some of the things that have come from the House Oversight Committee, and there has been communication, and I think they have made some efforts to try and rectify those processes, because it is triggering. And there's just a way in which it's hard to focus on anything right now with all of this going on. I think many of us are feeling, really on edge and worn out. It's, we have regular lives. People are trying to go to doctor's appointments, take care of their children, do regular life holiday things. And it's just a serious weight to always, not know what's coming next. So I think, there are things like victims advocates for a reason. I know the government employs them. I don't understand why no one is using them right now.
I hope you feel the support of the American people behind you, Annie, because so many of us are just behind you all the way. Lauren, how do officials in Congress and the Justice Department strike the right balance when it comes to protecting the survivors and their identities, while also releasing as much information about this case as possible to the public? Because some of the documents we're seeing released are just 100 pages of redaction. And obviously, I don't want the names of survivors released, but like 100 pages of redaction, that's a lot.
It sure is, Jake. I think the survivors have been really clear about what they want to see. I think they have said that they want all of the files released and they want redactions for victim identifying information. That's very different than document after document after document of full redactions. And they also want to see the names of people who have caused harm on both sides. They don't care if they're names of people who represent the left, the right, the center. They don't care. For them, this is not about politics. This is about pain, and this is about people. And so it's really time to expose those who've caused tremendous harm and begin holding them accountable.
Lauren Hurst, thank you for your presence and your advocacy. Annie Farmer, to you and your sisters, I mean, sending you all the love and support from me and my staff here at CNN, as we have. Thank you, and I hope you're able to have a Merry Christmas. The co-author of legislation requiring the Epstein files release, Democratic Congressman Ro Khanna of California, says he's, quote, disappointed with what the Justice Department has made public today, which is not all of the files. His Republican counterpart, Congressman Thomas Massie, agrees, posting on X just moments ago that the release, quote, grossly fails to comply with both the spirit and the letter of the law, unquote. Joining us now, Democrat from California and the ranking Democrat on the House Oversight Committee, Congressman Robert Garcia. So, Congressman, you posted on X saying that you and your team are doing a major review of the documents, adding, quote, it's clear that this is not a full release. What stands out to you of what's been released or what has not?
Well, first, I think we should be very clear. This is absolutely breaking the law. I mean, they have not produced actually what they were required to do, which was all the files by today in a way that was searchable for the public, and that is not what's the case. What we have essentially is, one, we have a group of documents that have already been released to the public, and so there's could be even more than half of the documents we're reviewing right now have already been released. This includes court documents. It includes public video that's already been released to the public. It includes other civil case documents that are in there, the prison footage from Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell's testimony. And all of that information, including about 33,000 pages that were initially released to the Oversight Committee, are all in the public record. That already does not count for new information. Then we have, of what appears to be new, including some photos and other documents, those are highly redacted. And we don't really have any explanation as to why they've been redacted or what is actually there in those documents. And so we have right now, what we're seeing is not transparency. This is not what the law passed. This does not meet the subpoena that the Oversight Committee has in place. What it is defying the Congress and, quite frankly, defying what the president signed into law in releasing all of these files. And so the review will continue. They're now saying they're going to try to get these documents over the next few weeks. In our initial estimation, and again, this is our estimation right now, it could be that we're only getting about 10% of what the DOJ likely has. And of that 10%, 5% of that has already been released, and the other 5% is highly redacted. So we're getting very little so far. We hope to get more in the days ahead. But this is Pam Bondi. Donald Trump should release all the files today and immediately.
There's a lot that's been redacted. The White House seems to be arguing that what's been redacted is just to protect the names of the survivors.
Look, I think we have to obviously see what the redactions actually are. At the end of the day, redacting names of survivors and victims absolutely should be the case, and I'm hopeful that they've done that in a way that's responsible. At the same time, we don't know what else is being redacted there. And so we've got to also talk to folks that we know have worked to put these documents together. We have to ensure they're not just redacting the names of those that could have been either co-conspirators or names of men who have abused women and girls. So that information is going to be critical in the days and the weeks ahead. But we also need to be clear at this moment. I've been on the phone with Jamie Raskin and the Judiciary team most of the day. And we agree, we're going to likely have to take legal action if the Trump administration continues to stonewall, continues to not provide us full transcripts, and clearly they don't have a real interest in transparency. The searchable bar that they've included that's supposed to be searchable for the public is not even functioning correctly. And so this is not a real release. This is continuing a cover-up that's been going on now for months.